The day the alien envoy arrived on Earth, the sky above the international landing zone turned a deep silver color. People around the area felt a strange pressure in the air as the Dominion ship lowered itself onto the pad with smooth, silent movements. The vessel looked like a floating blade made from dark metal and glowing blue lines. Even the strongest human aircraft looked simple next to it. Many observers felt nervous, but the human leaders who waited on the landing platform tried to appear calm. Daniel Pierce stood near the front of the welcome group. He was a senior diplomat known for his patient voice and steady expression. He had met many alien representatives before, but none from the Dominion Alliance. He reminded himself to stay calm, no matter how the meeting went. At his side stood Brooks, a sharp and observant security advisor. She had spent years analyzing alien behavior and learning how to read the smallest details in their body language. When the ship's ramp lowered, the alien negotiator came into view. His name was. His tall figure moved slowly, as if he wanted everyone to study him. His skin reflected the sunlight, and his eyes glowed with a pale green shine. There was confidence in every step he took, but Daniel could also sense something else: arrogance. Looked at the humans as if they were children standing too close to a dangerous machine. Daniel stepped forward and greeted him in a polite tone. The translator device carried his words with perfect clarity. The alien envoy did not smile or bow. Instead, he raised his chin slightly and looked around the landing zone before answering. "So this is Earth," he said in a slow, almost amused voice. "Much smaller than I expected." Several humans in the group exchanged uncomfortable glances, but Daniel stayed composed. Watched eyes carefully. She noticed how he barely looked at the humans. He acted like he owned the place already. "Thank you for coming, Envoy," Daniel said. "We hope to begin honest and productive talks. Humanity welcomes peaceful cooperation." Made a soft clicking sound, which seemed to be his version of a laugh. "Peaceful cooperation depends on your ability," he replied. "We will see if your species can offer anything of value." Daniel nodded slowly, pretending not to be bothered. Inside, however, he felt a warning rise in his mind. This envoy had not even started negotiations, yet he already carried an attitude of superiority. It was clear he believed humans were weak. Followed the delegation into the main conference building. As they walked, he examined the walls, the floors, and the human technology around him. Every time his eyes paused on something, he made a quiet, dismissive hum. Noticed how he did this every few steps. The first meeting room was large, with a long table made from polished steel. Light came from panels hidden in the ceiling, giving the room a clean, calm look. Daniel took his seat at the head of the table, with sitting to his right. Sat opposite Daniel and spread his long fingers on the table's surface. Daniel began the meeting by presenting a short summary of Earth's goals. Humans wanted open trading channels, cultural exchange, and shared scientific programs. They wanted peace and mutual respect. As Daniel spoke, tapped his fingers lightly, making a clicking rhythm that sounded impatient. When Daniel finished, leaned back and spoke without hesitation. "These offers are small," he said. "Your species wants to be recognized by the Dominion Alliance, yet you show only basic progress. Your technology is young. Your alliances are small. Your influence is limited. Why should we even consider you?" The room grew quiet. Daniel kept a steady voice. "Because humanity is ready to grow and work with others. We believe partnership can bring benefits to both sides." Narrowed his eyes. "Benefits, for us? You imagine too much. The Dominion does not require help from your young world. It is you who are asking for protection, recognition, and advancement." Daniel felt the envoy's tone push against him like a challenge, but he chose his next words carefully. "We do not seek protection. We seek cooperation." Gave another soft laugh. "Your kind still depends on emotion. It weakens you. Dominion species learned long ago to avoid such instability." Kept her face blank, but inside she felt irritation. The envoy had not come to negotiate. He had come to dominate. His body language showed it. His slow, exaggerated movements were meant to intimidate. His words were meant to insult. But had seen this type of personality before. She knew that arrogant people often hid insecurity or hidden plans. Daniel continued the discussion, but every human suggestion was dismissed by. If Daniel spoke of shared knowledge, called it limited. If Daniel spoke of building trust, said trust was not needed. When Daniel suggested joint research teams, simply waved a hand and asked why the Dominion would waste time. The meeting ended without progress. When stood, he gave Daniel a long, steady look. "You must understand something," he said. "The Dominion allows only one type of agreement with developing species, obedience. You will adapt to our requirements, not the other way around." Daniel bowed his head politely, though his jaw tightened. "We will take your position into consideration." Left the room escorted by 2 guards. When the doors closed, exhaled sharply. "He didn't come to negotiate," she said. "He came to test us." Daniel rubbed his forehead. "Yes, and he thinks we are already failing the test." Leaned forward. "We need to be careful. He is hiding something. I saw the way his eyes moved when you talked about joint research. He avoided looking at the data screens. That means he already knows something about our tech, or he is afraid we will discover something about his." Daniel considered her words, was rarely wrong about her observations. "We will gather more information before the next meeting," he said. "The Dominion has a long history, but very little of it has been shared with us. If thinks we will bow to his demands, he will be disappointed." That evening, Daniel returned to his temporary residence near the negotiation center. He sat at his desk, replaying the recorded conversation on a small screen. Every time spoke, Daniel studied his face and tone. The envoy carried himself like someone who thought everything was already decided. But Daniel knew diplomacy. He knew that those who acted most confident were often the ones trying hardest to hide their intentions. Meanwhile, met with her security team. She showed them all the footage from the meeting and pointed out the envoy's gestures, pauses, and glances. "He underestimates us," she said. "That will be his mistake." The next morning, requested a short tour of Earth's main diplomatic wing. Daniel accepted, though he suspected the envoy wanted more than a simple tour. Walked beside him as they guided through a series of halls filled with displays of human inventions. Looked at a model of an early human spacecraft and made a low humming noise, as if amused. "Primitive," he whispered. Daniel forced a polite smile. "Every species begins somewhere." Replied, "Some rise, some fall, some never rise at all." Glanced at Daniel. The envoy was trying to provoke them, but Daniel did not give him the satisfaction. They reached a viewing panel overlooking Earth's orbital routes. Bright lines representing flight paths and satellite networks glowed across the screen. Studied the routes with interest. His eyes narrowed slightly, the first sign of something other than arrogance. "You defend your planet with simple methods," he said, "yet you believe you can stand beside the Dominion." Daniel shook his head gently. "We do not demand equal standing, we only seek fairness." Looked at him with a slow, cold smile. "Such fairness does not exist. You will learn this soon." When left for the day, Daniel and met again in the private analysis room. Crossed her arms and spoke first. "He is planning something. This is not a normal negotiation pattern. He is not here to build a treaty. He is here to weaken us." Daniel nodded. "We need proof. If we can understand his real plan, we can respond properly." Leaned closer. "Then we start with what we already know. He came alone as a negotiator, but negotiators do not usually act like conquerors." Daniel thought about that for a long moment. "You're right," he said quietly. "Something bigger is behind this." Outside the building, the night sky glowed with city lights as humans went about their normal lives. No one knew that an arrogant alien envoy had already judged Earth as weak. No one knew he had plans for domination, not diplomacy. But Daniel knew, and they decided that the next time they met, they would not let him control the conversation. They would show him that humanity was far more than he expected. The envoy had underestimated them, and soon he would learn the cost of that mistake. The next morning began with a quiet tension in the Earth Diplomatic Center. The sun had barely risen, yet Daniel Pierce was already reviewing reports on the central screen in his office. He had slept little. His mind kept replaying every moment of the first meeting with the envoy's arrogance, his dismissive tone, and his complete refusal to respect Earth had painted a clear picture. The Dominion was not interested in peace. Daniel rubbed his eyes and leaned back in his chair. The room lit up with soft blue light from the screen. Charts, histories, and communication logs filled the display. He traced a finger over a report detailing past Dominion encounters with developing worlds. Many of these encounters ended the same way: false negotiations first, control later. There was a knock on the door. Brooke stepped in, carrying a small tablet under her arm. She looked alert, focused, and already prepared for the day. Daniel could tell she had slept even less than he had. "I watched the recordings again," she said as she approached his desk. "Has a pattern. He avoids direct questions. He mocks to redirect attention, and he shows no interest in mutual benefit." Daniel nodded slowly. He didn't come for cooperation. He came expecting us to surrender. Placed her tablet on the desk and tapped the screen. A still image appeared, captured from the meeting. His eyes were narrow, glowing softly, and his expression was cold. "I think he sees us as a small obstacle," she said. "Something to push aside before moving on to the next world." Daniel folded his hands. "Then we need to show him we're not an obstacle, we're a wall." A soft tone chimed in the room. A message appeared on the display. "KARTHRQSTS second meeting, immediate." Daniel exchanged a knowing look. "He wants to rush things," said. "That means he's trying to pressure us." Daniel stood. "Let's hear what he thinks he can pressure." They left the office and made their way to the main negotiation chamber. The hallway was quiet, the early morning light drifting through the large windows. Staff members moved quietly, sensing the tense atmosphere. When Daniel entered the meeting room, was already seated. His tall frame leaned back in the chair as if he owned it. His long fingers tapped the table in a slow, steady rhythm. "You kept me waiting," said when they approached. Daniel remained calm. "We arrived at the scheduled time." The envoy tilted his head slightly. "Your sense of time is inefficient." Stood beside Daniel, studying his posture. Something was different about him today. He seemed more focused, more determined. Daniel took his seat. "What would you like to discuss today?" he asked. Pressed his palms flat against the table. "We will skip unnecessary talk. The Dominion requires complete access to Earth's orbital routes. Your ships will not move without our approval. Your satellites will operate under Dominion supervision." Daniel blinked, surprised at how boldly stated it. "That is not reasonable," he said. "Earth cannot give up control of its own sky." His eyes narrowed. "You misunderstand. This is not a request. It is a directive." Could feel the growing anger in the room. She kept her voice steady. "Earth is not a Dominion territory." Turned his gaze toward her. "You speak boldly for someone whose world stands so low." Did not react outwardly. She simply watched him, her expression calm. Daniel leaned forward. "We came to this table with respect. It would help if you showed the same." Gave a slow, cold smile. "Respect is earned, not given, and your species has earned nothing." Daniel clasped his hands to keep himself grounded. "We can discuss shared routes, joint missions, but full control is not possible." His voice dropped. "You have no choice." The room grew still. Daniel studied the envoy, noticing how his fingers tightened against the table. The envoy was not here to negotiate. He was here to take. What happens if Earth refuses? Daniel asked. Did not even blink. Then the Dominion will take what it needs, with or without your agreement. Stepped forward slightly. Are you threatening us? Clicked his teeth softly, a sound somewhere between amusement and annoyance. Your species uses such dramatic words. The Dominion does not threaten, it simply acts. Daniel sat back. Then these talks mean nothing to you. Leaned in, lowering his voice. You are a small world. You survived only because larger powers ignored you. Now the Dominion has looked your way. You should feel honored. Whispered, he's pushing too hard. He wants us afraid. Daniel nodded slightly. The meeting lasted another 30 minutes, during which refused every suggestion Daniel made. When the envoy finally stood to leave, he spoke one last time. This planet will join the Dominion, one way or another. He walked toward the exit, his steps echoing across the room. When the doors closed behind him, let out a breath. He was worse today, she said. Daniel stared at the door. He thinks we'll bend. He thinks pressure will break us. Placed a hand on the table. We need more information. We need to know exactly what he plans. Daniel nodded. Let's start digging. They left the meeting room and headed to the Human Strategic Council laboratory. The building was buried deep underground, protected by thick walls and advanced security. Screens filled the large central hall, each displaying information from across multiple star systems. The head researcher, an older man named Hale, greeted them with a serious expression. We saw the recording, he said. This envoy isn't hiding his intentions very well. Daniel stepped up to the main screen. We need everything you have on the Dominion. Patterns, strategies, incidents, anything that can tell us what is planning. Nodded and tapped the console. Several images and documents appeared at once. These are past encounters, explained. The Dominion uses negotiation as a trap. They give small promises, then take more and more control. If a world resists, they cut off trade routes. After that, they sometimes intervene directly. Raised an eyebrow. They weaken worlds first. Exactly, said. Make them depend on the Dominion, then dominate them. Daniel frowned. Is trying the same pattern here, but he's showing his hand too early. Crossed her arms. That means he's confident or desperate. Zoomed in on a map showing multiple star systems. There's something else. The Dominion is losing influence in parts of the galaxy. A few planets broke away recently. They may be trying to grab new ones to fill those gaps. Daniel felt something click in his mind. So Earth isn't just another target, it's a replacement. Shook her head. We need evidence, something real we can use. Daniel looked at her. Then let's create an opportunity. His eyes sharpened. A controlled tour. Daniel nodded. Yes, we show him something advanced, something that will make him reveal what he knows or what he fears. Smiled faintly. He will underestimate it. Daniel turned to. Prepare a secure path. We'll take to the research sector tomorrow. Nodded. I'll handle it. When Daniel and left the council building, the sun was setting. The sky glowed orange and red. People walked through the streets unaware of the quiet danger approaching. That night Daniel sat alone on a bench outside the center. The cool air helped him think. He watched the lights of distant buildings flicker in the growing darkness. Humanity had grown fast. They had built cities, ships, and networks across space. They had learned from old mistakes. They had endured wars, disasters, and crises. But now a new threat had arrived. A quiet threat, a diplomatic threat. Found him outside and sat next to him. We'll handle this, she said. He thinks we're weak because we don't show our strength the way the Dominion does. Daniel nodded. We will show him, not with weapons, with truth. The next morning the sky was bright and clear. Arrived at the research wing wearing the same calm, arrogant expression he always did. His posture was tall, his movements slow and graceful. Daniel greeted him. "Envoy, we would like to give you a tour of one of our advanced research sites. You may find it useful." Chuckled softly. "I doubt there is anything here worth my time, but I will entertain your attempt." Walked beside them as they entered the facility. The halls were wide, clean, and filled with glowing displays. Looked around with a small smile. "So this is what you consider advanced," he murmured. Watched him carefully. His eyes moved more than before. He was taking in every detail. They reached a large lab where human scientists monitored defense simulations. Paused at the sight of the holographic projection showing Earth's shield grid. He stared longer than expected. Daniel noticed, "This is part of our defense study, a work in progress." His expression shifted slightly, almost too subtle to notice. But saw it. Unease. The envoy kept walking, though his steps had lost some of their confidence. Daniel and exchanged a look. Their plan was working. Earth was no longer the weak world believed. And soon they would uncover the truth behind his visit. They just needed one more push. Walked through the human research facility with the same slow steps and tall posture he always used, but something in his movements had changed. Daniel Pierce saw it first. The envoy was no longer walking with pure confidence. His eyes moved more quickly now, scanning every corner and every surface as if he was looking for hidden dangers. Brooks noticed it too. She felt a quiet sense of pressure building in the air, like the moment before a storm. The group entered a large control room filled with screens and holograms. Human engineers monitored simulations of defensive shields, ship routes, and early warning systems. The air hummed with soft electronic sounds. Paused in the doorway and stared at the main screen, which displayed a rotating model of Earth surrounded by glowing lines. Daniel stepped forward. "This is part of our research," he said in a calm voice. "We are improving our detection range. Soon we will be able to identify any ship entering our system before it reaches orbit." His eyes narrowed. "That is unnecessary," he said. "The Dominion already monitors the area around your planet. You depend on us more than you admit." Watched him closely. "We prefer to depend on ourselves," she said. Turned his head slowly, giving her a long stare. "Humans prefer many things," he replied, "but preference does not shape reality. Power does." Held his gaze without blinking. Daniel could feel the tension rising, so he redirected the conversation. "There is more for you to see," Daniel said. "Please follow us." They guided through another hallway. Along the walls were displays of advanced alloys, prototype engines, and early-stage weapons systems. Some were small enough to hold in a hand. Others were large enough to fill entire rooms. Slowed again when he saw a model of a new orbital interceptor. It was sleek, compact, and designed to move quickly between orbit and open space. "Your species advances faster than we expected," said in a low voice. "Too fast." Daniel hid a small smile. "We learned from studying others. We grow quickly." Tapped one long finger against the display case. "Growth without guidance leads to chaos." Stepped forward. "Who says we need guidance?" Shot her a sharp look. "Your kind is unstable, emotional. You make choices without understanding the consequences." Did not look away. "We understand more than you think." Daniel could see that was becoming uncomfortable. The envoy had expected to see old machines and outdated technology. He had expected to laugh, not worry. He had underestimated them. They continued deeper into the facility until they reached the secure wing. The doors slid open automatically when Daniel scanned his badge. Inside was a wide room with a single object in the center, a glowing sphere connected to several large machines. Stopped as soon as he saw it. Daniel noticed the way the envoy's chest tightened. "This," Daniel said, "is something new, a long-range data system. It allows us to store and read signals from far space. It records almost everything." Blinked everything. Walked around the machine. Every transmission, every shift in energy, every pattern. His eyes flickered with a sudden sharp interest, or fear. Daniel stepped closer. Do you know what we found when we started scanning the areas near Dominion border space? Said nothing. Approached the central console and tapped a screen. A hologram appeared, showing several coordinates in deep space. These are hidden Dominion listening posts, she said. We detected signals from them last month. His expression froze. Daniel watched him carefully. They were pointed toward Earth. The room became very still, slowly turned to Daniel, his eyes glowing brighter. You should not have scanned that far, he said quietly. Raised an eyebrow, why not? Took one slow step forward, because some knowledge is dangerous. Daniel replied, only for those who wish to hide something. His hands tightened at his sides. For the first time since arriving on Earth, the envoy looked uneasy. His calm mask was beginning to break. Daniel walked toward him. We know the Dominion has been monitoring us for years. We know you never planned to negotiate. You came here to weaken us, to push us into accepting your control. His jaw tightened. You misunderstand the Dominion's intentions. Daniel shook his head. No, we understand very clearly. Stepped beside Daniel, and we found something else. Turned to her with a slow, tense movement. We found your personal communication logs, she said. His head jerked slightly. Impossible. Daniel tapped a screen and a new hologram appeared. It showed encrypted messages, each labeled with signature code. Not impossible, Daniel said softly. Difficult but not impossible. His breathing grew heavier. His eyes darted between the screens. Folded her arms. You plan the same thing here that you did on other worlds. First, you insult them, then pressure them, then offer small protection, then take everything. Step back slightly. I do what is necessary for the Dominion's survival. Daniel shook his head. You do it because you think it's easy, because you think worlds like ours won't fight back. His voice dropped. You should not test the Dominion. Daniel stepped closer. Why not? Are they afraid? His face tightened. We do not fear you. Smiled faintly. Your eyes say something different. Snapped his head toward her. For a moment, Daniel thought the envoy might attack, but instead straightened his posture and tried to regain his calm expression. You believe you have learned something important, said, but you have learned nothing. Daniel tapped the console again. A new hologram appeared, showing a Dominion ship attacking a small planet's satellite network. This was one of your previous negotiations, Daniel said. Silence confirmed it. Walked around him. You destroyed their defenses before they even understood what was happening. Kept his eyes fixed on the floor. That world was unstable. They needed guidance. Daniel shook his head. They needed freedom. The envoy exhaled sharply. Freedom is a word weak worlds use when they fear responsibility. Daniel studied him. You think we are weak. Lifted his head. You are. Smiled again. Then why are you scared? His eyes glowed sharply. I am not scared. Daniel stepped forward. Your voice is shaking. His jaw clenched. Humans twist words. You use emotion to confuse yourselves. Daniel held his gaze. Maybe, but we see the truth. Finally broke eye contact. His eyes moved toward the exit as if preparing to flee. Stepped into his path. We're not done. Stiffened. Daniel turned to the console again and opened another file. This one displayed a message from a Dominion commander. Froze as soon as he saw it. It's an order, Daniel said. From your leader. You were told to force Earth into a treaty within 7 days, and if we refused, you were to activate a signal to bring Dominion ships here. Said nothing. Crossed her arms. You planned to call them as soon as we showed resistance. Daniel stepped closer. But now we have your coded trigger signal and your entire plan. His hands trembled. For the first time, the envoy truly understood. He was not in control anymore. Daniel took a slow breath. We are not the weak species you believed. We study, we learn, and we protect ourselves. Lifted his head. His eyes were full of anger, fear, and disbelief. Stepped forward. You underestimated us. Whispered, humans always rise too quickly. Daniel shook his head. No, we rise when we must. Backed away slowly, his tall frame suddenly looking smaller. Daniel's voice became calm again. We will inform the Galactic Network about the Dominion's hidden postings and your orders. Other worlds will see the truth. His eyes widened. You would destroy the balance of the galaxy. Stepped beside Daniel. No, the Dominion already did that. The envoy felt the room closing in around him. The light from the screens reflected off his skin, making him look trapped. Daniel stepped forward one last time. Your mission has failed. His voice shook. You cannot win against the Dominion. Answered, we already have. The envoy took a final step back, his body trembling slightly. He realized that everything he believed about humanity was wrong. He had misjudged them. He had underestimated them. And now the truth stood exposed. Daniel turned away from and spoke too. We prepare the announcement. The galaxy must see this. Nodded, and we prepare to stop him if he tries to escape. His voice came out in a whisper. You do not understand the danger you bring. Daniel looked back at him. We understand enough. Stood frozen for a long moment, breathing slowly, deeply, as if he needed to steady himself. His arrogance was gone. His confidence was broken. And with every passing second, he realized something else. Humanity was not a small world. Humanity was a storm. And he had walked straight into it, without understanding what it truly was. Daniel and left the room to prepare the next steps. The lights dimmed slightly as they walked away, remained standing, staring at the glowing screens. His mission was falling apart, and he knew the price he would pay. He had underestimated humanity, and humanity was about to show him the full cost of that mistake. The atmosphere inside the Human Strategic Council grew heavier as Daniel Pierce and Brooks prepared for the final stage of their plan. They had spent hours gathering every piece of evidence, every intercepted message, and every data file that exposed mission and the Dominion's true intentions. Screens glowed around them with quiet intensity. The room felt like the heart of a storm that was about to break. Daniel reviewed the communication packet one last time. It contained recordings of threats, the hidden Dominion listening posts, and the order that commanded him to force Earth into obedience. Checked the encoded message they planned to broadcast to the galaxy. Once we send this, she said quietly, there is no going back. Daniel nodded. I know, but we cannot allow the Dominion to control us or anyone else. Looked up at him. We need to handle first. He may try to escape. Daniel agreed. Let's move. They left the council room and headed toward the secure wing where had been left under observation. The hallways felt strangely silent, as if the building itself understood the importance of the moment. Security cameras tracked their movements, and guards stood ready at every intersection. When they reached the secure room, the door opened with a soft hiss. Was still inside, standing stiffly near the center. His tall frame looked tense. His glowing green eyes followed Daniel and as they entered. You return, said in a low voice. I expected you to send guards instead. Daniel stepped forward calmly. We came to speak with you directly. His expression tightened. There is nothing more to say. Studied him, there is everything to say. You tried to force us into a false agreement. You failed. Now we decide how this ends. Took a slow breath as if gathering the last of his pride. You imagine you have won. The Dominion will not allow this insult to stand. They will come, and they will burn your world if they must. Daniel shook his head. Not after we show the galaxy the truth. His eyes widened slightly. You would dare. Stepped closer. Yes, because other worlds deserve to know what the Dominion has done. They deserve to know how you used deception to control them. The envoy's voice grew sharp. You will destroy yourselves. The Dominion will crush you. Daniel lifted a small device. Maybe they will try, but we will not bow. His posture stiffened. You are reckless. You do not understand the balance of the galaxy. Daniel met his gaze without fear. Perhaps the balance needs to change. For the first time, looked truly shaken. The cold arrogance he had worn like armor was now cracking with every passing second. He had never expected humanity to resist. He had never expected them to think for themselves. He had never expected them to fight back. Stepped in front of him. You can stay here under our protection, or you can try to escape. But know this, if you try to run, you will be stopped. His eyes flickered. Your security is nothing compared to my abilities. Gave a small, confident smile. Try it and see. Something in her voice made hesitate. He did not move. He did not speak. Daniel stepped back. We will return soon. Stay where you are. He and left the room. The door sealed behind them with a heavy click. Outside, a row of guards waited. Daniel gave a simple order. No one enters, no one leaves. The guards nodded. Daniel and made their way to the command center. The moment they entered, the entire room shifted into action. Operators typed quickly, screens blinked with new data, and the communication module hummed with power. Approached the transmission console and placed the encoded packet into the system. Ready when you are, she said. Daniel nodded. He stood in front of the main display as the countdown timer appeared. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press the final button. A bright wave of blue light pulsed across the screen as the message left Earth's network and traveled into deep space. It passed through relay stations, bounced off communication towers, and spread into the galactic information grid. The truth had been released. Millions would soon see it. Daniel exhaled. It's done. Nodded. We just changed everything. Meanwhile, in the secure room, felt the shift in the air. His eyes widened and he rushed to the wall panel, listening to the faint hum of communication waves. His hands shook. You fools, he whispered. You have doomed yourselves. He pressed his palm against the door, trying to override the lock, but the system him. Access restricted. Lights flashed red. Growled softly. I must reach my ship. I must warn them. He stepped back, preparing to strike the door. But before he could move, 2 guards entered the outer hallway. Their weapons were not raised, but their presence was a warning. Stared at them, breathing hard. The guards did not speak. They did not need to. The envoy slowly lowered his hands. He knew he could not break through. For the first time, he felt something he had not felt in decades. Fear. Back in the command center, a new alert appeared on the main screen. Leaned in. We're receiving responses. Daniel blinked. Already. Yes, she said, many of them. The screen filled with messages from different star systems, different governments, different worlds. Some were shocked, some were angry, some were afraid. But one thing was clear. Every message condemned the Dominion's actions. Read through them quickly. Several worlds are demanding answers. Others are cutting ties with the Dominion. Daniel felt a slow sense of victory rising in his chest. This is exactly what we needed. But the operator at the front console suddenly turned. Sir, we are receiving something else. Daniel stepped forward. What is it? A message from a Dominion warship. The room fell silent. The screen lit up with a transmission window. The symbol of the Dominion appeared first, a dark circle surrounded by jagged lines. Then the image shifted to a stern Dominion commander. His voice was low and rigid. Earth, you have violated interstellar protocol. You have exposed restricted Dominion data. You will face consequences. Daniel stood tall. We revealed the truth, nothing more. The commander's eyes narrowed. Surrender now, and we will negotiate mercy. Step beside Daniel. We don't surrender. The commander's voice grew colder. Then prepare for conflict. The transmission ended. Daniel turned to the room. Activate defensive protocols. The operators moved instantly. Alarms echoed through the building. Lights shifted to red. Screens showed Earth's defense grid coming online. Placed a hand on Daniel's arm. They will come. Daniel nodded. Let them, we are ready. In the secure room, felt the air tremble as the alarm sounded. He closed his eyes slowly. They will destroy you, he whispered. But as the minutes passed, something unexpected happened. A new message appeared in the command center, not from the Dominion, but from another world, then another, and another. Read the screens. They're offering support. They want to help defend Earth. Daniel felt something warm rise in his chest, because we told the truth. Smiled, and because they're tired of the Dominion too. Earth's allies began to form. Ships from distant worlds sent messages of unity. Small fleets offered their help. The Dominion warship, now aware that Earth was not alone, paused its approach. The galaxy was shifting, and Earth had started the change. Hours later, Daniel returned to the secure room. The guard stepped aside, letting them in. Stood motionless, his expression empty. Daniel spoke calmly. The Dominion has paused its advance. Other worlds have joined us. Did not speak. Stepped forward. Your mission is over. Slowly lifted his head. You changed the galaxy. Daniel nodded. We did what we had to. Stared at them with a strange mix of anger, disbelief, and respect. You are not the weak species I believed, he said. Replied softly, no, we never were. Closed his eyes. Then I have paid the price for my mistake. Daniel studied him. There is still time for peace. Opened his eyes. The Dominion does not accept peace, only control. Shook her head. Then they will lose everything. Looked down, maybe. Daniel stepped closer. You can stay here, you can help us, or you can return home. Paused. I cannot return. The Dominion does not forgive failure. Nodded softly. Then help us build something better. Stared at her. Humans always reaching further. Daniel smiled faintly. It is what we do. Lowered his head. Very well, I will help you. It was not surrender. It was acceptance. Outside, the world changed. Ships from different species arrived in peaceful formation. The Dominion's power began to weaken as more worlds rose against its unfair control. And Earth, once considered small and unimportant, now stood at the center of a growing alliance. Daniel watched the sky from the balcony of the council building. The horizon was filled with lights, signals, and hope. This is only the beginning, said. Daniel nodded. Yes, humanity stepped into the galaxy today. And we did it without fear, added. Daniel looked up at the stars. We did it by showing our true power. The wind blew softly across the balcony. Humanity had proven itself. Humanity had risen. And the galaxy would never be the same again.